Meeting is being recorded in case you weren't aware of that. So if you have a problem with that, you might want to log off right now. So we're really glad you're here. A nice turnout. Just for fun, would everybody just put their major in the chat? It's very nice for the speakers to just have a sense of who they're speaking to. Just let us know who, what your major is. Yeah, great. Got some computer science, mechanical engineering, civil, great. Civil. I suspect we're probably going to see a lot of civils. There's another mechanical, wonderful.
Oh, okay. It's a mixed crowd.
It is a mixed crowd. So, Corey, I hope you're okay with that.
Oh, yeah.
we invite everybody. We try not to, because we feel like, if it, like yesterday we did one for entertainment engineering, but we also opened it up to everybody because we felt like what that gentleman might have to say might spark something for other people. And I think the same thing will be true today, even though you're a civil. A lot of what you'll share with us today will work for anyone. So yeah, so you've got a nice smattering of mechanical, civil, computer science. Looks like that's the majority. So welcome everybody. We're really, really glad you're here. So you may ask questions by unmuting during the course of the presentation and jump in and ask Corey Ellis, who is our presenter today, a question while he's presenting. If you'd like to do that, you can pop it into the chat. I'll be monitoring that and I'll be happy to ask your question on your behalf. But this is a great opportunity for you to connect with an employer directly. And I really encourage you to unmute and ask your question. It gives, I don't know, it just gives the feeling that we're really all here together and we're not so virtual. When we hear your voices, it just makes it a little bit more real, and it's good practice for you as well. So it's 4:03. I usually like to wait till about 4:05, but I think we'll go ahead and get started. And I will introduce our speaker for today. Corey Ellis is a professional engineer, of course, and a project engineer at GCW. He's also involved with ASCE YMF, and I'm going to let him explain what that acronym means for those of you who are not civil majors. He's a PE review chair for them right here in Las Vegas. He's also on the communication committee of NAIOP. Civils really like acronyms, I've decided, which is NAIOP Southern. He holds PE licenses as a civil engineer in Nevada and North Carolina. He holds a Bachelor of Science from North Carolina State of Structural Engineering. We haven't had anybody from North Carolina on in a long time. His 4.5 years experience includes construction material testing, geotechnical, and land development. Corey, welcome. We are really, really glad to have you with us today.
Well, thank you, Marion. And I'm very happy to be here. It's exciting to touch base with younger engineers, future engineers. I really wish I'd have had a chance to get in touch with more people involved in the field. Yeah, so currently, like Marion said, I'm at GCW Engineers and Surveyors. I do land development. Next slide here. So yes, today's presentation, it will fit all engineers. It's pretty much the engineering or the workforce, right after graduation. How did I feel? And I was pretty excited about this topic because I honestly, going to school, I had no idea what I was looking forward to. My mom saw me playing with Legos and pretty good at math, acing all my math classes. So she said, hey, when you grow up, you should do engineering. They make pretty good money. I said, okay. And that literally is all I used to do that and to kind of go to school. And in fact, I only applied to two colleges. It was NC State and then ECU. And the reason I chose ECU is because they were known for Halloween parties. I don't know if you guys seen those, but it wasn't for engineering stuff.
What is the name of that school? Can you say it for us?
Yes, East Carolina University.
Okay, so see, we're
Uh,
all on the West Coast. They may not know those east. I lived in North Carolina, so I knew that, but I know these guys. A lot of them don't know what you're
oh,
talking about.
sorry. Yeah,
That's okay.
if you ever look up ECU, I'm sure you'll find a picture of like kids surfing on the buses. They're kind of riding on top of the bus for Halloween and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Wow, they still let them do that?
No, they were never supposed to do that. So the authorities have kind of cracked down on all that stuff.
Right.
But yeah. So like mentioned earlier, I graduated from NC State in 2016. I started my career in geotech and construction material testing at ECS Southeast. ECS, they go from all the way far east coast to all the way to Texas. I think they have one location in Texas. But yeah, I did that. And then a year and a half later, I switched to land development. And that was because, and I'll explain this more later. It was more like what school was, and I just knew I just felt like I couldn't keep up with geotech because sometimes you have to go out in the field when there's not enough technicians or EIs. And then I decided, I made my last move to GC Wallace because I was ready for I wanted a better climate. Really, was the weather here, which is pretty good. You know, always sunny. You got your wind out here, I've noticed. But overall, it's really nice weather. But yeah, GC Wallace had an upbeat atmosphere and driven employees. You know, so I continuously followed up with this place, hopefully, you know, trying to land a job, which I did, thankfully. And that's where I've been. Okay. So, what was school like? So I know it seems like schools are kind of all over the place. At least in North Carolina, they are. Some are getting kids like ready to go for work, and then others are kind of like NC State, where it was pretty theoretical. They teach the fundamentals, and then they kind of like they knew that once you get into the workforce, you'll pick up everything, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I kind of seen that before. Being that way, if you didn't do research coming from not knowing anything, just kind of off the limb trying to major in this, everything was kind of distant. So the last couple of years, when we start really designing stuff, and and this is partially my fault. I didn't go do research on this stuff, but when you go start, trying to do your homework and tests and stuff, you might start coming out with weird answers. And I listed a few here because you just can't relate. And it's like footings you might design, 2x2 in the center of a 3-story office building, or you might get crazy flow rates, 1 psi to 10,000 psi for somebody's house. And then steel beams that are often sized way above or under the typical construction use. So it's just things like that. You just have no sense of relation. So I mean, anything is viable. So my first job. This was all in my head, but I was thinking, 18 it wasn't 18 because my mom. Because I got to college, so she didn't force me out at 18. But I knew once I got out of college, I better have something. So I took the first opportunity that came my way, which I would encourage if you guys don't have to, don't look and broaden your search. But yeah, I felt like it was crunch time, and geotech was, they were open, they were available, so that was the first one I took. And my professor said it was a good one, which it really is. If you're in civil engineering, geotech CMT work, at least to start off for a little bit, it's pretty good. Or if you're still in school, to go into, because every day is a completely different project. Civil engineering, you're stuck on projects for about a year, 2 years maybe. a lot of times. So yeah, geotech, it can be every day something different. Either a different part of the site or a totally different place. You know, you might go to one site one time and that was it. But yeah, geotech, CMT was very similar to the civil engineering labs. Concrete testing, soil samples, and surveying. I personally, when I was back in school, I didn't know that these things were still going to be used in the workforce. A lot of my colleagues said this stuff was kind of obsolete, but so I took everything as, okay, it was going to be, this is like kind of like arts and crafts in grade school. You know, you're just doing your thing here, but this isn't an important part of the school. But actually, a lot of that stuff you do use, and you'll only do it once in school. So it's pretty good to pay attention. Like the slump test that was used, I did that all the time. Concrete samples, soil, the soil sampling, I did that. The surveying, this picture you see right here, this rig here, so those right there are for constructing caissons, which are deep foundations for typically for high rises. And they didn't hire a surveyor for their crew. They just did it manually. So they used the rod and they took shots, you know, and they wrote it down in a geez, I can't remember the book's called, but they wrote it down and everything. So it was all by hand. So it was an experience. I did it in school, but I didn't grasp it and take hold of it. So I kind of had to relearn it out in the field. That was pretty fun. It was definitely nice to know that I've done it before. Yeah, so those are some things that I did in geotech. And next slide here is a couple more things I've done. In geotech and CMT, you'll do, there was also masonry observations, reinforcing steel observations, dynamic cone penetrometer, post-tension slab, and proof rolling. Now, let me see. So all these, right, in school, the rest of these are on paper and kind of touch and go. So when I got to the workforce, it was nice to actually see how these systems work and what's going on exactly. But yeah, that was that. And then okay, so switching topics here, interviewing insight. Okay, so interviewing. Well, first thing is to relax. You are an engineer, and overall, the market needs you. So keep in mind, you may not get the exact place you wanted, but I mean, engineers are needed. So don't ever feel down about not getting your first place, second place. Just keep looking. More than likely, you're in a saturated area of engineers. That's kind of, North Carolina's got quite a bit of engineers. So I would definitely want to move out of there. I don't think I would ever go back, because they have quite a bit of schools there, and people don't tend to move out of their home area. So yeah, just keep in mind about that. And also, the people that are interviewing you are people. So, you know, just relax. You know, how do I say it? People know you. You know, you've been through school and stuff. Now it's all about just. I know when my first interview, the general manager the general manager, he didn't really want to know like all the technical skills I had, but more so like just who I was as a person. And that's really what it is. I mean, everybody's been through the ring. Everybody's taking these hard tests. Everybody's passed. You know, you've pretty much earned your stripes. You know, of course, you got a couple more tests to go. Oh, sorry, guys. Hey, Nelson, can I call you back? Thanks. Sorry about that. But yeah, just know that you've earned your stripes. Anticipate common questions, strengths, weaknesses, teamwork abilities, and software capabilities. And what do you know? This one's the big one. Do not go to an employer pretending to be confident in stuff you are not. This is the quickest way to get fired. I've seen it way too many times where people pretend to know stuff in engineering, and then they become honestly the laughing stock, and they get fired. So don't do that. Overevaluation is careless and can be costly not only for you but for the employer. You're expected to grow after college. You never stop learning, so there isn't a need to make up stuff or embellish on for higher compensation. A few $1,000s extra to completely fall on your face is no good.
So, Corey, we have a question from Justin, and he's wondering what the best way might be to honestly say that you're not competent in a certain aspect of your field.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep. The best way. So when you get out here, for most of the, at least for civil engineering, they're going to wonder, okay, do you know CAD? And it's going to be, I mean, this is pretty straightforward. Yes or no. And that's the way. I mean, everything's it's concrete, either yes or no. I mean, this is a bunch of math equations. Everything's right or wrong. I would say the best way is just to say yes or no. That's the best way, honestly.
I think too,
Yeah.
it's important to really focus on what you are strong in. And I mean, if they come out and ask you specifically, could you do this? You clearly have to be honest and say, well, I might have done this in the classroom for a semester, but I haven't done it in the real world, but I'd love the opportunity. So you always want to end on a positive, always.
Thank you.
Even if you don't have that, if you don't have that confidence in that competency, try to hit something that you do know about it, but then say, I've been to school and I'd love the opportunity to do it in the field.
Right. Yeah, I would love to learn it. Yeah, that's a great point. Work ethic and ability to learn. Those are very key in this field.
And
right,
Jaden
so
also added, if I can just add, Jaden, another student, said it would also make sense to say that you want to improve in that aspect through the company. Yeah, that's exactly what we were just saying. Thanks, Jaden.
Yes, correct. Thank you. All right, so the greatest design tip to date. So the one I've kept so far, I learned this one about, about 2.5 years now, is to zoom in, zoom out. That's pretty key. A lot of times you'll get involved into your day-to-day task or a little problem you're doing, and you'll forget to see the bigger picture. So you got to remember, what all the systems you need to coordinate together, all the sewer, water, storm. Making sure everything works not only with your site but then with all the adjacent sites. Okay, yeah, you might be able to design it, but did you go through the proper procedures and make sure you're even allowed to? Because you might find something that works, but legally it doesn't, and you might have to go get a waiver or something. So it's always good to be, okay, what's my part? Okay, what's everybody else's part? Okay, what am I doing here? And then what's the big picture here? Because you might fix one little spot, but it messes up the bigger picture. So that's been the greatest design tip I've had. And I think you'll get that more so as you get more involved into your field. Because at first you'll always be zoomed in, right? Your manager will always tell you what to do, how to do it. Keep asking whys though, and then the more whys you build up, the faster you'll be able to zoom out and see those bigger pictures and kind of predict the movements for the more detailed zoomed in version. So yeah, I have for that. All right, what if I want the competitive employment opportunity? Okay, so if you do want to take on that, like I said, you really shouldn't have a hard time finding a job, but if you do, if there was a company you got your eye on, then you probably need to do some things beforehand. And this is a list I have. So study the company, who are the company's clients, their competitors, what services does the company offer, how can I add value, aim for an internship. Many times internships can lead to a full-time opportunity and get to know the employers. Is your GPA important? If you're applying for your first job, which I would imagine is most of you, then it all depends. Most companies will ask for the first, ask on the first job. Engineering, like I said, is in high demand, so it's not a huge factor. If you have a high GPA, flaunt it. I would say go for it. You know, brag about it. It will only take you but so far though, and anyone you are dealing with has went through this program, so employers know. Like that's what I mean by going so far. They know, you know, what exactly school is and how much they can get out of you from the school. What's better than a high GPA? A skill set. You know, what interest do you have? And what side of engineering do you want to go more, lean on more, managerial or technical? If technical, what do you want to specialize in? And then your extracurricular involvement. It's best to get involved with construction, design, and real estate organizations. But honestly, any organization where you're talking to people and networking, getting to know people is going to help. You know, they might have a friend or a brother, or cousin, whatever. So here are some of the organizations. Marion mentioned that I'm in the ASCE YMF. Honestly, yeah, they do like acronyms, and I'm not sure. I'm going to reach out for a limb and say that YMF is youth member foundation. But yeah, so it's basically like the kid version of ASCE. The younger crowd, pretty much. They're still PEs, but they're like I don't know. I think they range like 30 years old and younger. There's no set cap to it, but I've noticed they're younger. But yeah, so here's some other ones. The other one I'm in is the NAIOP, which is the real estate. That's pretty fun. You get to kind of see where a lot of the money is going in Vegas. You know, what's the plan for Vegas? LinkedIn. All right, there's just one big thing about LinkedIn. It's an awesome tool. It's the best. It's the best social media tool there is. Shoot for the 500 plus. That was my number one thing. Get the 500. Once you get 500, it just says 500 plus on your profile. It doesn't even matter after that. Connect with your colleagues. This is a good chance. There's a good chance that they can help you later. I've definitely had people reach out to me all the time. And then as you gain credentials and connections, opportunities will find you on LinkedIn. When you get your PE, you're pretty much just trying to figure out where you want to work at, what makes you happy. And I mean, these recruiters are looking for you all over the place. LinkedIn, number one way recruiters find talent. Yep, that's absolutely right. School might be over, but learning never stops. Stay ready to learn and keep an open mind. Gain the experience it takes to make engineering judgments, but listen to new possibilities. This doesn't just include design practice, but it can be business logistics. Some engineers don't want to try something different, and that could prove to be more efficient because they believe they know the best way. You'll find this a lot, especially in small firms. People just don't like change, and that'll definitely slow you down. That'll slow your company down. The only thing that is certain is change, so keep it up. Okay. How to get to the top of your class quick? Practice, practice, practice. Come in with a good attitude, ready to learn, and the ability to take new tasks and do some outside research. This is your future. This is your career. So yeah, definitely take the time to invest in yourself. I actually had a mentor who always told me that, and it took me a while to actually start getting going on that and take what he was saying serious. The daily grind. If you find yourself in the daily grind, it's probably time to move up or out, because there's way too much stuff to learn in engineering. You have code, you have software that you can learn to maximize or develop, or help with somebody help develop. How to be the best designer, the business side of things, which is maintaining client relationships, getting clients, numbers for proposals, to submittals, dates, scheduling. I still don't know how to schedule yet. An overall quality product, nice plans. Yes, so yeah, these plans begin to feel kind of like art more so than they do business and all technical. Like it starts to be like, okay, you got to move this tag here, align this text here. You start to want to make it look as good as the math and as the work you put into it. So that's that. So yeah, let me back up one. This is all the different divisions that we have personally. So that's what I mean by just here alone. If I wanted to, right now I'm currently in land development, but if I wanted to learn all these other things, there's plenty of stuff for me to learn. So yeah, just know to keep their eyes open and be ready to learn. Don't get stuck in day to day. And any more questions? Engineers that speak well have experience with clients, make more money. Yes, engineers that speak well have more. Yep. Yeah, a lot of times engineers will not ask for a raise. They're just comfortable working and stuff, and they just forget that you do need to make a good living. So yeah.
So Corey, I popped that into the chat. We actually have a Toastmasters club at UNLV for students, and I'm often referring engineering students to that club. Consider another student organization, but what it's doing is teaching you how to speak publicly. And engineers, we have a stereotype of being introverts, the brainiacs that are possibly socially awkward. And the UNLV Toastmasters Club can help you break out of that if you feel you struggle with that. So just Google UNLV Toastmasters Club. I was looking that up when you said, do you have any questions? And I popped back. But it is online, and you can, I think they typically have meetings on Tuesdays, if I'm not mistaken. But great way to get out of your comfort zone and stretch and learn how to speak well. Because we've heard over and over again from engineers who rise in the ranks to management that's number one, how you can get into management by speaking well, obviously being a good team player and other things as well. But managers have to speak to a lot of different people. And so that's a great opportunity. Jaden's asking if you took the FE exam and how the preparation process was for you.
I did take the FE exam. I took it while I was in school. Preparation, I did it by myself. I just bought the test prep book and just kind of did those problems.
Is anybody struggling with the FE right now?
No, I haven't really heard too much. It's a lot easier for us younger crowd now because we get to use Control F. You kind of just search the manual really fast, so there's nothing too hard about it.
So they're asking if you can talk about the exam structure. They don't know much about it.
Oh.
Do you remember?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
That may have been a few years back.
Choice. Yeah, it was multiple choice, and it was very generic. It was like all the generic questions in your classes, pretty much. all the subjects, pretty generic stuff. I'm missing a part. Half of it was no, that's good enough.
How low should GPA students respond when asked why their GPA was not included on their resume? Oh, that's an interesting question. You've actually, so somebody asked you why your GPA was not included on their resume.
Oh, huh.
And they're wondering how to respond to that. I would simply say something along the lines of, I carried more credits than I probably should have, and that affected my GPA, and I've chosen not to put my GPA on my resume because it's not where I want it yet. Something
that's
like
a good. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I didn't know the answer to that. Thank you.
Sure. No, we do this every day, all day. So yeah, I'm going to jump in here. We're good. I'm glad you like that response. Yeah. So it's just not where I want it yet. And until it's where I want it, not comfortable putting on the resume yet. You know, I want to get it higher. I'd like a stronger GPA. They're going to respect that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
So
They
Corey,
also respect. I've had a guy. Sorry to cut you off, but my last firm, the owner actually told me up front that the reason he hired me was because I walked in. So they really like that personal person contact, especially older owners. So going in is definitely the way.
When you say you just walked in, do you mean you just walked in to say hello and meet them, or what do you mean you just walked in?
Yeah, I just walked in and said hello during the business hours. Just try to meet them if they're busy, then just come back another day.
Very good. Very good. That's a great idea. Yeah, so you could select. So what I recommend to our students is, especially if you're a junior or a senior, start creating a list of 5 to 10 employers that you might be interested in interning or working for, and then go see them. Do exactly what Corey just said. Go drop in, check out their site, their location, see if there might be a project engineer available to talk to you for 10 minutes. Explain you're a student at UNLV, you're in between classes, whatever. You never know. You never know. It might be a great way to find a connection.
Yeah.
So Jaden's, yeah, it's just thinking outside of the box, right?
Right.
You have to get out of your comfort zone, though. You got to be willing to do that. You know, a great time to practice your elevator pitch. Jaden is saying, I'm asked often, what do you want to do with engineering? And I never know how to respond. Is this something I should know, or is it okay to graduate and find out as I go along? Did you find yourself in a similar struggle?
Absolutely. I'd say a lot of guys nowadays, the recent grads, they bounce out of different disciplines in engineering. I don't think you'll really know at first, but especially when there's so much stuff. Civil engineering is just huge. You'll do something once and won't do it again for like 6 months later. So 6 months later. So, that's safe. I would say a lot of people do that. A lot of people struggle with that.
You know, and I think that's even outside of engineering. I think that's college in general. And unless you're directly exposed to a specific type of work, and that's why we want you to get those internships so that you can define what area you're most interested in or drawn to. The more experience and exposure you have, the quicker you're going to be able to determine where you want to be or what you want to do. But you can supplement that. You don't have to wait for an internship. You can actually call these companies, ask to speak to a project engineer. It doesn't matter if you're mechanical, if you're CS, if you're CEE, if you're EE, it doesn't matter. Get your list of employers together, target them, start cold calling them. This is what we had to do in sales. I worked for American Express for years, and we had to cold call people. You know what? It's the people who keep calling and keep being persistent without being, rude or obnoxious, but you
Mm-hmm.
show that you're determined. There's a difference between showing determination and being obnoxiously, stalking them. But you show them, this is a company I really want to learn about. And you tell them that I really want to meet people in this company. I want to know what kind of projects you're working on because I'm trying to figure out if this is going to be one of my target companies. You know what those people would do if they heard you say that to them? They would probably start falling all over you to find you an internship. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, yeah,
What do you think?
yeah, that GPA goes. I mean, I'd say school is important, but yeah, that work ethic and that attitude it's a huge part.
It absolutely is. I don't think they care that you don't have the experience. They don't care that the pandemic threw you off. They don't care about any of that. They want to know you have a good work ethic, that you're going to work hard, you're going to learn quickly and well, and you're going to apply yourself 150%, and that you want to be there, that you want to work for that specific company. People want to hire people that want to be there. They don't want to hire people who just need a job.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the wrong mindset.
It's the wrong mindset. You've really got to find out about the company. So Corey said that in the beginning, and he's absolutely correct. So I tell people all the time, think of it like this, we're kind of in career services, we think of ourselves as matchmakers. We're matching you to the proper company. We want to try to help you figure out what the proper company is so that you have a lifelong relationship with that company, hopefully. And if you think about dating, it's the same thing. So let's say a friend of yours sets you up on a blind date and you know nothing about the person that you're going to go out on the blind date with, and the date comes and you meet the person and you're like, okay, so what's your name again? And what's your major? Where are you going to school? And what do you like to do? And you're just asking everything for the first time. If you do that with an employer, they really are put off. So I've had people tell me that have attended job fairs at UNLV that they only want to come to engineering job fairs because they don't want to wade through the hospitality and business students, because those folks are going up and saying, oh, JT4, what do you do? And it's very off-putting. But the students who go up and say, oh, JT4, you guys build defense systems for the US Air Force. And I know you also work with Edwards Air Force Base and Hill Air Force Base. Now they're interested in you because you've shown you know who they are.
Yeah. Yeah, you've already invested in their company in a sense.
That's right. What are some stereotypical answers that they should avoid so that they can stand out a bit more to employers? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a prior. Yeah, no, I think I got that question. Okay. So what are some stereotypical answers? So Justin, can you provide a question and then maybe we can come up with stereotypical answers? That's a very broad question. What are some stereotypical answers that we should avoid so that we can stand out a bit more to employers? Okay, what are some answers, Corey, that you've heard to interview questions and you kind of roll your eyes and go, oh, there's that answer again. What are your strengths and weaknesses? That's a good one. That's a good one, Justin. All right. Excellent. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are actually steering away from that question because of that. They're getting the same answers over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah. So how would you answer, what are your strengths and weaknesses?
Oh gosh. Okay. My strength is my work ethic.
I'm putting you on the spot here, Corey.
Yeah. Weakness. I struggle with this, but you should know this answer. Weakness. I have to say. I guess that would be like sharing the workload. So just being able to delegate work. Better. Yeah.
I think that's
tough.
a good answer, actually. I think that's a good answer, that I have difficulty delegating work sometimes because I know if I do it, it's going to be done, and I'm a little bit of a control freak, so I have to learn to be better at delegating work to my team. I think that's a great answer because it's not really a weakness, is it? It's not truly perceived. I mean, it might be because you might be a workaholic. And if you're a workaholic, that's a problem going the other direction, right? But
Right.
what you're really saying is, I'm going to make sure it's going to get done and it's going to be done well. So you're kind of doing a reverse take on that weakness. Antonio said, should I say I work too hard? I don't think I would say that, Antonio. What do you think, Corey? I work too hard as a
Yeah,
weakness.
I don't know because they might put you to the test with that one. So I don't. I wouldn't say it.
Yeah. So try to pick something that's really not a weakness, but you might struggle with it just a little bit. I think the word weakness is what throws us off. We immediately go to the bottom of the barrel of our list. Oh, God, I'm terrible at that. Do I tell them that? No, no, no. You're selling yourself. This is all about being positive and selling yourself to these people. That's a trick question, and you're not going to fall into that trap. So you're going to pick something that's you could probably be better at as your weakness. Does that help? Would that
Yeah,
be a
that
good
does.
answer? So let's see. He says, I saw somewhere it was good to say how some of your work can better help the company and how your knowledge can help implement certain works under the company. Now, how would that answer what is your weakness? Is that what you're referring to there? Is what are your strengths and weaknesses? With that answer, I'm not sure how that would fit. But I do think in general, if you say, that your work can help the company and that your knowledge can help implement certain things for the company? Yes, but you have to be able to back that up. You have to be able to demonstrate that. Anybody can claim anything, right?
Yeah, that's
If you,
that adding value statement right there. Yeah, you got to be able to do it.
so he was saying, good answer. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, yeah. So I think your strengths, you really need to spend some time on this and reflect and ask other people. Ask your parents, ask your colleagues, ask the people who you're on a team with. What do you see as my strengths? They will tell you. They will tell you. They'll also tell you what your weaknesses are if you ask them that too. Then you
Yeah,
can
the outside
find,
person is way better to ask.
yep, other people see it easier than we see it ourselves. Can you oversell yourself? What do you think, Corey? Can you oversell yourself to an employer?
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. What do you know? People do it a lot in technical fields, and it's not pretty. Um, those people are gone within a month or so, and like I said, they can get laughed at. And even if you do it and it works and you learn it really fast, what'll happen is you'll get paid a lot more. Like you've actually oversold yourself, and then you're the first one to be cut. So you'll get the benefit at first, but then you get cut first.
Humility is always important, I think, especially in a job interview. Now, that doesn't mean you're not competent. There's a difference between competence and arrogance. You want to be confident. You don't want to be arrogant. Big difference. So
Right.
how do you know what the difference is? Arrogance is bragging and maybe not even backing it up. Confidence is stating a fact and you back it up with some example. That's the difference.
Mm.
And I really want you folks, you students, to really practice saying your answers confidently. Remember what Corey said at the beginning. People need engineers. They want to hire you. They are dying to hire you. If you could be a little fly and sit in some HR people's offices for a week, you would be amazed at what you hear and see. Recruiters have a job to do, and that is to fill positions. They need candidates. They want to hire you. Give
Yeah.
them a reason to hire you. Just give them the reasons to hire you. They want to hire you, and they typically hire people they like. So Corey, what do you think about, I've heard people say, it's kind of like When you walk into a retail store and a salesperson comes up and says, "Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. Nice to have you here. If I can help you find anything, please let me know." You're much more inclined to purchase something in that store than if the salesperson totally ignores you and doesn't come up and speak to you. Same with hiring. So if you are likable and affable and easygoing and have a nice smile on your face and you're enjoying the interview, they're going to enjoy you. People hire people they like as well. You got to have the skills and the experience and, you know, the package. I mean, they're not going to put somebody in a position that they don't think can do the job. But if they like you, you're definitely going to get points for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the smile thing because I forgot that in the presentation, but I always keep that in my back pocket. It works a lot of times. You know, it might not even help for you. It might help somebody else's day. So.
Right. A lot of times just that smile and just be yourself. Remember what you're good at, what you're strong at, what you bring to the table. And then just in saying, all right, so what's a good way to respond to questions that you don't have an answer to?
Ooh.
You know, my feeling on this is I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, that's a great question. I don't have an answer for that. If you don't know, you don't know. Right? Now, you don't want to make something up. Corey just said that, right? Corey, you don't want them to make it up.
Right. Yeah. Stay away from making stuff up.
That's where you get in trouble, right? That's where you get into trouble. So now what you could do is say, I've had some students do this. They'll say, that's a good question. Do you mind if I take a second to think about that? Ooh, you know what you just did? And then you take a second to think about it, and then you compose your thoughts and you give them an answer, and it's a good answer. So sometimes you just need a little time to think about it. People really respect it when you take time to compose your thoughts and give them a thoughtful answer. That sets you apart from many, many other people.
Yeah, because that's not done that much, you know, to sit back. It shows a lot of wisdom. Sit back and say, okay, I'm going to take in what you just asked, and then I'm going to give you a well-composed answer.
Yeah, and you actually do take a few seconds and think about it and collect your thoughts. Sometimes you're so nervous in an interview setting that you're really not thinking about what you're saying. And I would say take the pause before you answer any interview question. Take a pause, compose your thoughts, then answer. What that comes across as is as someone who's very thoughtful, reflective, and you're taking those questions very seriously. They like that.
Right.
It's a great thing to practice. And I'll tell you what, that will set you apart from so many people who just quickly chatter on and they're not really even thinking about what they're saying.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, that's pretty rare. You're like, oh, 1 second, let me think about it. That was a great question. I don't hear that much.
What would you think if someone said that to you in an interview?
Oh, I would think that's awesome. You know, that means that they're really engaged in the conversation, and you know, I'm glad to wait for them. Actually, you know, actually hear what they have to say. That would be awesome.
Yep. What questions are good to ask an employer when it's your turn to ask those questions? And this is a great question. Great question. So sometimes people don't have questions. Don't want to do that. Always have at least 2 questions. Always. What do you think, Corey? How many should they have, and what are some good questions to ask?
Oh, I'll let you take the lead of this because I feel like I'm not that good at interviews. You sound a lot better than I do.
Oh no, well, no, this is both of us together. But yes, I would say, Antonio, have at least 2 good questions. I would this is a great question because you can go in a number of ways. So some people have fun with this, and they'll ask one serious question such as, what are the characteristics that you want this candidate to have that you feel would help them be successful in this position? Now, that's a very interesting question, because what you're really saying is, tell me what you're really looking for in this position. What kind of person you want. And if you can ask that question at the beginning, they will actually reveal to you exactly what they're looking for. And then you can begin to weave into your answers those things that they just told you. Aha, we're sneaky that way, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
We're
Yeah,
sneaky
I
that
might feel that.
So if you can ask that question on the front end somehow, if you can get a question in between a couple of questions that they're asking, like almost having a conversation with them, well, what kind of characteristics do you feel would be successful in this job? They're going to reveal it and they're going to tell you. Now you take those things, if they say, team player, leadership, you begin to weave those things into every single answer from then on. Another thing that people do is they'll ask a question like that, and then they'll say, when do I start? Ooh, you want to be bold? There you go.
There you go. I like
When
it.
do I start? So, yeah, I'm getting a thumbs up. So, you know why that's a really cool question, but you've got to be confident, and it better be a job you really want. Allie said,
Right,
I'm
yeah,
nervous
true.
hearing that. That makes Allie nervous to even hear that. So here are the parameters around that, Allie. And you're right. That's not the right question for every interview. Number one, you need to have a very good rapport with that interviewer. You need to feel it in your gut that it's going well. You're confident. It feels good. You like what you're hearing. You like the job. You like the company. So what you're really saying when you say, when do I start, is I want the job. You're telling them very clearly, sorry, my dogs are barking underneath my desk. Sorry about that. I have
Oh, you're
terriers.
fine.
You're telling them you want the job. And a lot of employers complain that candidates do not ask for the job. They want somebody to be bold enough to say, I really want this job. And that's one way of saying, I want the job, is by asking that question. Now, you don't have to ask that question. You could ask another different type of question. And then you could also say at the end before you leave, thank you for this interview. I very much want this position. I'm truly looking forward to hearing back from you soon. So you can do it that way too, right?
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable doing that. So the bold people will do it, say it with a smile. And most employers will smile back and go, wow, that's, I like that. They're going to remember you. I guarantee you. They will remember you.
Absolutely.
If you want to be set apart, there's a way you can do it. Try it. See what happens. Try it. But it needs to be the right situation. You really, really need to want that job. But it's fun to just try different things in different interviews and see how it settles over you, how it feels afterwards, if it worked for you, if it didn't. And it could just be the environment wasn't the right environment, the person wasn't the right person, the job wasn't the right job.
Yeah, I really like that first question too. That also shows that you're ready to be molded and you're ready to learn and stuff. That was I really like that
thought
one.
about this. Yeah, you want to know what do you want to, what characteristics do you want to see in this person? What do you think is going to make them successful in this job? That's the bottom line, right? They're trying to fill a position with the right person for the right job, and they want to match. They're trying to find that match. You're just simply trying to uncover what those clues are early, so you can use that to your advantage. So that's a very strategic way to interview. And the smarter and the more strategic you can become, the more successful you will be. Any other questions? What are some answers that you can say that can let the employer know you want to grow alongside the company? What do you think, Corey?
Where's this down? Uh, I would say know what the company's involved in. Know where the money's going. As far as not for what you're going to get, but as far as projects, who mainly gets there, who are they involved with, who are the clients, where can you find these clients, what kind of organizations are they involved in. Really knowing everything, the in and out of the business would know that that kind of shows that you want to grow and that you pretty much have been a part of the team without being on board yet. So,
Good answer. Very good answer. Yeah. Asking them what's important to them and then expressing how you could help with some of those goals. So just find out, what's your 5-year plan, company? Where do you hope to be in 5 years? That's another great question to ask at the end of the interview. Where do you want to be in 5 years? And then they lay out their mission statement or their strategic plan or whatever. And then you could respond by saying, that's excellent. And that's, very similar to what I hope to do with my career or yada, 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 whatever. Parallel their answer with some thoughts of your own and what your goals are and what your plans are. And do you plan to stay, in Las Vegas for the next 5 years? Yeah, well, I plan to be here in Las Vegas for the next 5 years. So that, I would love to help you achieve those goals. Anything else? All right, it looks like we have come up to almost an hour. So Corey Ellis from GCW Engineering, thank you so much for spending this hour with us today. We appreciate your thoughts and your ideas and your answers. Students, thanks for your time. We can't do these webinars without you being here, so we appreciate you joining us. And if you have any ideas for future webinars, please email me. I'm going to put my email in the chat right now. We love to hear from you, and we want to do webinars that are important to you. So send me your ideas. If you have any questions you want to talk to me offline afterwards, please feel free to do that. Corey, do you want to share your email with anybody in case they'd like to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I forgot the last slide, but that's okay. Yes, so I'll just put it in the chat. So it's Ellis, CELLIS, at gcwengineering.com. And yeah, I'm open for any questions, anything you guys, any more you want me to expand on, anything like that. All right.
That's terrific.
More
there
than
you
happy
go.
to answer.
So
I put an M in engineering. So can't
they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out.
Okay,
no
good
problem.
deal.
Yeah. So guys, you now have a connection with GCW Engineering. I would say put this in your pocket, hold on to it, reach out to Corey, say you were here at the webinar, ask some questions, make some connections, right? That's how networking works. There's 2 ways to get a job. One is with your resume and fabulous skills and things you've learned and your experiences. The other is networking. And that's what you just did today with Corey. You just networked with him. You now have a connection with this company. So especially if you're a civil, you might want to hold on to that. All right, everybody, thank you so much for coming. And if you're going away, thank you, Corey. We really appreciate it. If you're going away for spring break next week, we hope you have a safe, wonderful vacation next week. I know midterms are happening this week and the week after spring break. I don't know why they sandwich spring break. That would make me crazy. But I wish you all the best with your midterms and have a great vacation. And thanks for being in here today. We'll see you at the next webinar.
All right, thank you.
Bye, everybody.